What are you doing here? You realize your fantasy championship should have been last week? Oh, you're still playing fantasy? What, right until the end of the regular season? You are an absolute fantasy basketball sicko. Don't worry, I'm in some leagues that go to the end of the year too, so you are in luck. In this episode, we're gonna run down the waiver wire targets you need to focus on for week 23 fantasy basketball playoffs. We believe every NBA fan that plays fantasy football should also play fantasy basketball. If it's your first time here, I am Robin Marks, your host, but also your personal fantasy basketball analyst. I used to work with NBC Roto World, also contributed at #basketball, and now I work for you. So if you're watching this video, you are one of those crazies, one of those sickos that's running your league almost to the end or till the end of the NBA season. So we want to make sure that you are rewarded. We are giving away this free PSA 9 LaMelo Ball rookie card. So all you have to do to enter to win this gem right here is drop a comment on the YouTube version of this episode. It could be any comment, but if you want to stand out, make a comment about LaMelo or about the card. Maybe it'll help you to stand out. Any way you look at it, we will be giving away that card at the end of the season, and we'll announce the actual winner in an upcoming episode. So I want to get right into the value because I have some players I want to talk about. So we're going to just take the red eye over to the west side, like Tupac and Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg and Dr. Dre, and of course, Kendrick Lamar, your man's in them from the LA Lakers, Jackson Hayes. Now, Jackson Hayes is somebody that was on my radar as soon as that trade fell through with Williams and Connect, and it didn't happen. We knew that the Lakers were very thin up front, to say the least. So we knew that they were going to have to really mobilize this young man. And honestly, he is a solid lob threat for Luka Doncic. He's giving off some Clint Capella vibes out here, young Clint Capella. But he definitely is not the type of player that's going to take your team to the next level. However, he seems to be a stable enough contributor that if you're looking for a safe play this week, you can pick him up when it works for your team. It's worth noting that this week, week 23 of the NBA season, it's one of the most streamable weeks we've had for fantasy this season. So you can pretty much stream every single day. If you're playing in a Yahoo league, they're calling it week 21. If you're in ESPN, it's week 22. The most confusing year of fantasy when it comes to actual numbers on the weeks. We're just going to go with the NBA schedule. It is week 23. So a little bit more about Jackson Hayes. Over the last 7 days, he is averaging 24.4 minutes per game. Yes. 10.6 points. Come on. 6.6 rebounds. Yeah. 2.2 assists. Not bad. 1 steal and less than a block a game. So not too bad there. Any way you look at it, like I said, not a player that's going to blow you out of the water and give you like a 70-points game night for fantasy points. But consistently 40, 30, 20s. You're going to get consistent contributions from him. He won't be a dud. He's not going to lose you points. And that's the kind of player I'm looking for to just have some stability when it comes to my streaming spot. So I'm looking at Jackson Hayes across the board. Speaking of across the board, let's talk about going across the board with BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest, BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all betting needs. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Moving right along with these waiver wire targets, this guy, we've spoken about him on the show, but he is warming up a little more than usual. I'm talking about from the New Orleans, bout it, Pelicans, your man's in them, Jose Alvarado. Jose Alvarado, over the last 7 days, is averaging 25 minutes per game. Yes, 7.5 points, not bad. 2.3 rebounds, that's okay. But check this out. 5 assists per game. Let that sink in. He's averaging 1.3 steals per game on the season, a little less than a steal a game over the last 7. Still something that he's known for, getting you a few of those defensive stats. Definitely, again, not the sexiest pick at this point of the season. None of them really are, but he is a solid contributor to fantasy squads and someone that I'd be open to dropping and adding this week, especially if you're trying to secure that championship. Now, the next gentleman I want to talk about, I had in a couple of teams. And I'll tell you real quick, man. I was in a league, I am in a league, a dynasty keeper league. And when I tell you, man, I had the best record. The best record. I think I was 17-1-1. Like flowing through, just kicking down doors through the regular season. Made a trade mid-season to bring the Joker onto my squad. Started dominating more. I was feeling really good. And then this week, which is the semifinals, the Joker sat every single game. When I tell you, I was crushed, but I was still fighting. Going into tonight's matchup, I must have been down 70 points. It was still pretty close. And I had a full house going into the games. I felt good. I had one player that was day-to-day. It was Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons was cleared to play. Then Chet Holmgren, out. And this one killed me. Cade Cunningham, out today. Along with the Joker also being out the whole week. I just couldn't pull it off. So right now, the game is still happening. I'm down by about 100, and your man had Andrew Wiggins tonight. Andrew Wiggins went off for like 77 fantasy points according to our scoring settings. So rough week for me, man. Rough week. But this guy I had on my team, and he helped to keep me in the game. Despite the Joker not being there, this guy helped me to hold it together. From the Washington Bullets, Tristan Vukcevic. Oh, baby. Over the last 7 days, your man is averaging 17.5 minutes per game. Let's go. 13.8 points per game. Huh? I don't give a shit, Sue Poppy. If your man is scoring 13.8 points per game, you need to keep an eye on him. There's more. 4.8 rebounds per game. Come on. 1.5 assists. I'll take it. But check this out. This is where it gets good. 1 steal per game. And I got more. 1.3 blocks per game. Top is off. Boobies is out. Hair blowing in the frickin' wind. Your man is cooking with hot bacon grease. Get yourself some Tristan double ooh on the jersey. Let's go. All right, moving to the next player. Oh, man, I had him on my team, too. Oh, my goodness. The Bulls are looking crazy right now. Like, if you're looking for fantasy value, the Bulls, we've been talking about them every week for the last few weeks. Last week, it was Trey Jones on the cover of our episode. This gentleman won't be the cover boy of the episode, but he has been going all the way off. When I tell you, viable work. From the Chicago Bulls, Kevin Huerter. It started with the game against Sacramento. I watched his revenge game, right, against Sacramento this week, and he looked like he was playing with purpose. And I've been watching Huerter over the last few years, and he's always been fringe kind of, should I hold? Maybe I'll draft him with my last pick, maybe. I don't know. Just not that kind of a guy. But he has these spikes. Something's happening. He's getting some of that Michael Jordan, bizarro Michael Jordan energy right now. I'm saying, your man is looking pretty solid. Over the last 7 days, Huerter is averaging 34.8 minutes per game. What? Where they do that at? On the season, he's averaging 23.2, 17.8 points per game over the last 7. Yes. 4.8 rebounds. Yes. 3.8 assists. Come on. 1.5 steals per game. And there's more. Your man is also averaging, over the last 7 days, 1 block per game. On the 20th, the game I'm talking about against Sacramento, 37 minutes. Come on. 25 points. What? 5 rebounds. 7 assists. And that ain't even the kicker, y'all. 4 steals and 1 block. According to our scoring settings for points leagues, he scored 71 points for our league, and I had him on my team. What now? What now? Grab yourself some Kevin Huerter. Next player we want to talk about, I'm not as high on, but I wanted to just point it out. There's a couple of folks on his team that might be worth a look as well. Spencer Dinwiddie, to name one. But let's talk about him. From the Dallas Mavericks, Jaden Hardy. Now, Jaden Hardy had a dud the other night. I already had him on this list before the dud, but I was like, I'm going to still keep him just because. Fact of the matter is, going into week 23, Dallas has a back-to-back on a Monday and Tuesday. So that's something we all want to be mindful of. So you might have a player that you really like, but you've been thinking about dropping him. A good example is like the level of like a Shaedon Sharpe, for example. A player like that. Let's say you have a player like Shaedon Sharpe, and Shaedon Sharpe, I don't have it in front of me, but let's say he only plays 1 game on the Monday or Tuesday, right? So he only has 1 game. You can look at a player like Hardy or a player on a team that has a back-to-back, and you can kind of like exchange that pretty good player for like an okay player like Hardy, and you get 2 days of play from that player versus 1. So suppose Shaedon Sharpe goes for 25 fantasy points, but Jaden Hardy goes for 15 in both of his games. So that's 30 to 20. So I think sometimes the name value of these players kind of scares us into making that move. So like, I'm not going to drop, Shaedon Sharpe for him, but you're in the playoffs right now, right? So if you're in a redraft league, if you lose this week, it don't matter who you got on your team. You can't take them home with you, right? So it's better to be very decisive and make the tough decisions. Jaden Hardy has not been that crazy, but again, he has that back-to-back. That's why I'm interested in him, and he's widely available, especially if you're in a 12-team league, maybe even a 14. You might find him available over the last 7 days, 17 minutes per game, 12 points per game. Come on, 1.5 rebounds, 1 assist, and no legitimate defensive stats to mention. But I will note that on the 19th against Indiana, he played 24 minutes with 24 points. I'm all about that Kobe Bryant life. As you can see, if you're watching us on the YouTube episode, we got some Kobe in the back over here, right? If he scored 24 and played 24, if you in the championship, you might get some of that 24 energy. Rest in peace to the Black Mamba. I'm grabbing myself some Jaden Hardy. Now, before we move on, I want to talk to you guys about our Substack. If you love this community and you want to invest in what we are building, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Think of it like treating me to a coffee and a bagel once a month. Becoming a paid subscriber will grant you access to our MVP Discord channel, which will be operating all off season, all summer. We're going to be in there talking fantasy and NBA. Also, we'll get you priority DM and email replies and priority rate my team videos. Those are especially fun at the beginning of the season when you first draft your team. We put those on TikTok and on Instagram and sometimes on YouTube Shorts. But most importantly, your support will help us to keep creating content. You are not obligated or expected to pay anything. Zero. You don't have to pay anything to be a part of this community. There's no expectation that anyone has to pay a penny to get this content. However, there are expenses associated with this operation, and your support, if you can and if you want to, will help us to keep this thing going for years to come. We've been doing this since 2021, y'all. 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. This is our fourth season. What? Come on now. But your support will help us to keep this thing going for years to come. To get started, visit BelieveInFantasy.com. That's BLEAV. Believe, like the name of the show, not believe like share, right? BelieveInFantasy.com. Enter your email and select the level of support that works best for you. The next couple players I talk about before we go into our world famous rapid fire waiver wire segment where we're going to talk about 24. I'm going to give you 24 names for people you want to keep an eye on. So make sure you stick around for that. But before we do that, we have two more deep dives from the Philadelphia 76ers. I got to get a sip of my drink for this one, man. My throat getting. Hold on. Give me a minute. All right. From the Philadelphia 76ers, Guerschon Yabusele. Oh, baby. He helped me out in a couple of leagues I was in. I grabbed him, I think, on Saturday. He plays the Sunday and the Mondays, and I know I'm winning, so I grabbed him. It's just a really good look. Philly players have that going on for him, but this guy has been super consistent over the last couple days. Let's check out some of the numbers. Over the last 7 days, Guerschon is averaging 28.8 minutes per game. Yes, 14.8 points per game. Come on. 6.5 rebounds. What? 2.8 assists, not bad, and 1 steal per game. He is widely available, especially if you're in a 10-team league, and some 12s you can even find him. So if you want to grab him, I think it will pay off for you. On the 21st against San Antonio, he played 38 minutes, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. Your man is doing his thing. Like, it definitely something that will work out for you, especially if you're looking for some consistency. He missed the game on the 17th. Other than that, he's been pretty consistent over the last couple of weeks. So I'm definitely checking for him. The last player I want to talk about before we go into the 24-man waiver wire, rapid fire, is from the Orlando Miggity Magic. Your man's in them. Mr. If I'm on your team, you might win a chip, huh? Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Now, again, not a sexy name. But on Monday of this week, your man is playing a back-to-back Monday and Tuesday. So you grab him the Monday, and then you also have him on a Tuesday. Just about every day this week you can stream. Actually, if most teams, unless you have a really small roster or starting lineup, I should say, like you have a 5-man, 6-man starting lineup, you should be able to stream every single day this week, unless you have a small starting lineup. So for me, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, there's some other interesting players from the Magic, like Wendell Carter Jr., Badetse, Anthony Black. There's some very interesting players. But when I looked at all of them, the thing that stood out to me with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is the fact that he was getting the minutes before any of this down the stretch business. So he's been getting minutes, and over the last 7, he's been pretty consistent with his productivity. So over the last 7 days, 30 minutes a game. Over the last 7, 12 points per game. Yes, that's an increase from his season average of 8.8. 3 rebounds per game, 2.7 assists, 0.7 steals, 0.3 blocks. On the 16th against Cleveland, he played 30 minutes, 15 points. The 19th against Houston, 32 minutes, 10 points, right? On the 21st against Washington, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. The consistency is going to come. He's not going to be a 30-a-night kind of a guy, right? But he'll get you 25 fantasy points. He'll get you 28. He'll explode once in a while to get you some points. But his floor is very safe for me, and that's what I like about him. So although a Wendell Carter Jr. might go all the way off, he'll have a dud in there. And at this point of the season, when I'm in the fantasy playoffs, when I'm in a championship, I don't have I can't tolerate duds. right? I would rather have the consistency at this point of the season. So before we get into the rapid fire waiver wire, I want to give a few updates. We've been talking about them the last few weeks, but I want to make sure anyone who supports the channel or follows and listens and gets value here that you're up to speed on what's happening. First thing, we are bringing on a bunch of writers for our free Believe in Fantasy newsletter. So we've already had an article from Noah Rubin, who is a award-nominated writer with NBC Sports Roto World. He's on his second article right now. We also recently brought on Fantasy 365. If you don't follow him on X, super valuable. He has one of the fastest growing platforms on X for fantasy basketball. Check him out there. But also, he's going to be dropping a weekly article. He just dropped his first one this week, and his next one is coming out, I believe, on Monday. And then we just brought on Fantasy Basketball Insider. He had his first article last week. I think it was the Friday episode or Friday newsletter, where he did a deep dive on Nikola Jokic. Fantasy Basketball Insider has one of the most thriving, valuable platforms on Instagram. So for fantasy basketball on Instagram, he creates these very informative infographics with details on people's performances and who you should pick up. Like, we are honored to have him as a part of the community. We do have a couple more surprises coming, but we're going to slow down soon, because really what we're trying to do is really get to like 5 or 6 contributors. We don't want to get to a space where we have just everybody contributing, and we're really looking for new and fresh writers, people who want to pursue sports writing, or if they want to be professional fantasy basketball analysts. I just want to make sure we give you guys an opportunity. So if you want to connect with people like Noah, Fantasy 365, Fantasy Basketball Insider, guys who are doing it right now, but you want to get started, please shoot me an email, because we are still looking for a couple more writers. Email me at info@believeinfantasy.com. That's BLEAV, believeinfantasy.com. And we can talk about it. We can set up a meeting, and we can see if you'd be a good fit for us, and also if we would be a good fit for you. Last thing on the updates before we do the rapid fire waiver wire, I also want to let you know that for the first time in the 4-season history of our program, we are taking a hiatus at the end of the season. So at the end of the season, which is April 13th, that will be our last episode of this season, right? So of this season, season 4 would be the end of it. So we're going to take a little break on our audio podcast. We're also going to take a little break on our videos weekly from YouTube, but we will continue to pump out content on the newsletter. So it's very important that you are part of the newsletter. And to do that, all you have to do is visit believeinfantasy.com and select the level of support that you want to give. And it can be, I can't pay anything, and that's fine. We want you to just be a part of it. So if you're not a part of the newsletter mailing list, please make sure you do that right now. That's believeinfantasy.com. Shout outs really quick. Our MVPs in the MVP channel. Big shout out to ASAP Corey, Arches, Chinasco, Drat, Flint Tropic, Jeff. Of course, my main man, Antec, our administrator extraordinaire for the Believe in Fantasy Basketball Discord community. Cannot do this without you, my brother. So grateful for you. And of course, our experts who are also in that MVP, Noah Rubin, Fantasy 365, and the Fantasy Basketball Insider. Now, with no further ado, let's get into the rapid fire waiver wire segment. Let me do some horns or something for that. Can we make some noise for that? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. First up, Daquan Jeffries, maybe. Jared Butler, emphatic, yes. When I tell you, I almost put him in the feature segment, but so many people have talked about him online. I didn't want to, I don't like to do that, right? But Jared Butler is a priority ad. I would definitely check him out. Zachary Rissecher, Justin Edwards. Oh, Justin Edwards, another priority ad. Shaden Sharp is available out there. Spencer Dinwiddie, if he's around. And then we got some Johnsons for you. We got Keon Johnson, Keldon Johnson, Magic Johnson. I'm joking. Magic Johnson don't play basketball no more. Miles McBride, Quentin Grimes, Tumani Kamara. Slow down, Robin. Kyle Filipowski, yes. Jeremy Sohan, yes. Aaron Nesmith, maybe. Keyshawn George, yes. Kaysen Wallace, emphatic, yes. Keon Ellis, they got a back-to-back on Monday, Tuesday. Yes. Zaire Williams, he's banged up right now, so be careful with that. Heck to the no. Bryce Sensabaugh, maybe. Trey Jones, also banged up right now. Heck to the no. Orlando Robinson, maybe. Dalton Knecht, yes. Dennis Schroeder, yes. And last but not least, Kai Jones. And if you wonder why we got injured players up there, we made the list based on what we were seeing people talk about on the internet, and these were the names that came up, and I just haven't had a chance to edit since that news broke out on those couple of injuries. Really important, if you have questions this week, drop them in the YouTube version of this episode. I will personally respond to every single comment. If you have more than one question, or if you have a follow-up question, don't leave it on that same thread, because sometimes things get lost. Just start a whole new thread. You can be like, hey, Robin, we just spoke in the other thread. I have a follow-up question. Totally fine. Start a new thread, because I want to answer every single question. And don't forget, play the waivers, set your lineups, and believe in fantasy. Peace.